Welcome back to module 4 of this unit 1, that is data analysis, and we will be talking about how to draw a table and graph using Excel. Now we already talked about how to draw these tables and graph manually in the previous module, and these various forms of graphs that we tried was a histogram, a bar graph, a pie chart, a subdivided bar graph, and we have a frequency curve, a line graph, and so on. And that we did manually. Now what we do is we try to create these tables and graphs using Excel. So for that, let me go back to the data that we have been working with. This was those 50 cost values in the city of Mumbai, the 50 restaurants that we have been working with. So this is the data which I put into a column, and this is how actually it was collected first. So now this is in the raw form, and I want to put it into a tabular form. So what we do is we go in the insert option and go to a pivot table, and you will get a window something like this. It will ask you to select the range of the data that you want to put into a table. So I select this, and it will ask you where you want the table to be, whether it is to be on the new worksheet or the current worksheet. So I'll say current worksheet, and I'll choose a cell where it can be displayed. So I'll say OK. So I'll get something like this, and what we have to do is you have to look at the right side of it. Okay, so the cost in Mumbai is variable. Drag it in rows and drag it in the summation values. So our actual variable, that is cost in Mumbai, is here in rows. That is the first column here, and then this is the second column. Now the second column actually gives us the sum of all the values. Now right now each of the cell contains only one value, so the right column is just giving the sum. So now I want to put them into classes. So what you have to do is click on any of the cell and go to group. You want to group this data values. Now by default it will identify which is the lowest value and which is the highest value. We already know that the least value was 13 and the highest value was 76. So that the range was 63. But then the actual classes that we found were from 10 to 20, 20 to 30 and so on. And then the last class was till 80. So I changed these values starting at 10 and ending at 80, and we chose the class size as 10. Now if you want a different class size of 5, we can change this 10 to 5 and say OK. Now it has put it into classes. So this is what you get. Now by default Excel will give you inclusive type of classes. Now 10 to 19, then 20 to 29, then 30 to 39 and so on. If you want them to be converted into the exclusive type, then you can always manually change them. You can change this to 20, we can change this to 30, so that you have 10 to 20, 20 to 30. You can change this to 40 and so on, so that it will be in the classes that you want. Now if you look at the second column here, these are not actually the frequencies, but these are the sum of the values which are in this particular class. Like 10 to 20, there is only one entry, that is 13. That's why it is 13 here. The sum is equal to 13. Whereas 20 to 30, this 121 is the sum of all the entries which are between 20 to 30. But what I want is actually the frequencies. So what I'll do is I'll right click on this and I'll say summarize by count, and it will give you the actual frequencies that we have. If I want, I can change these labels to cost, and this was the number of restaurants, the way I want it. So this is how you will get you can create a table by using Excel. It will give you the grand total as 50 as well. Next is I want to put them into graphical form, and we'll talk about how to put this data into a histogram, a bar graph, and so on. Now, to put this data into a histogram, what we have to do is you have to go in data, and you have to go in this data analysis. Now, sometimes this option is not shown in your Excel sheet. In that case, what you can do is go to File, and then go to Options. You have to say Add-ins, and you have to say Go. Now, in case these were not ticked, that is when this data analysis will not be shown here. The moment you tick them here and say OK, this data analysis will appear here. So you have to go to this data analysis, and there are various statistical tools here. So what we want is a histogram. Now before you click on this histogram, I have to create the classes as well. So I create a column saying bean, and the classes are 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on. So I'll say 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Now I'm not really writing them in the actual classes form 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on. That is because Excel does not recognize the non-numeric values. So initially, for the sake of creating the histogram, we'll write down the values like this. So this, when I say 20, I mean to say all the values which are less than 20 here. 30, the values which are between 20 and 30, and so on. Once I have created this column, then I go to data analysis. I'll say histogram, and I'll say OK. So it will ask you for the input range. So my input range is this cost in Mumbai, and it will ask you for the bean range. Bean range is here. Now the first row here contains labels. So I'll click on labels here because I have labels here, and then it will ask you the output range, whether you want it in the new worksheet or in the current worksheet itself. So I'll say output range is, this is where input range is this. So I'll click here in output range, and I'll click somewhere where I want the histogram to be, and I want the chart output. So I'll click on chart output, and I'll say OK. Let me do it again. Oh, the bean range has changed. That's why that error came. Now I will say OK. So this is what we will get. So this is the histogram. But of course, what we know in the histogram is that the bars are touching each other. They are adjacent to each other. This is more of a bar graph that we know. So besides that, there is another row that has been created here. Do not worry about this more. This is something like the Excel tries to identify whether there were any other values that we missed out. Okay. Now there are no values that we missed out. We have considered everyone. That's why it is 0 here. Of course, to get it, if you do not want this mode, then what you can do is you can select this, and you can say delete. Accordingly, that disappears in the histogram. Now in the histogram, you want those bars to be adjacent to each other, touching each other. So what you do is you click on this, and you will say format data series, and this gap width is actually 150% here, make it 0, and you will say enter. So now they are touching each other. Just to distinguish this, what I'll do is I'll give them border lines. So select this area, and then go to format, and you say no fill, so that you'll get and outline you can say back. So this is how the histogram will look like. If you want, you can change these labels to cost, and the frequency was number of restaurants. So this is how you have to create a histogram. Then we see how to draw a bar graph. Now to draw the other graphs, I'll put this, I'll select the data which is already in frequency distribution form. If you try to use the same table for a bar graph, that is what something that Excel will not do it for you. So I'll select the table separately here. Now this is member, cost variable is here, these are the number of restaurants. Let us say I want to insert a bar graph, so I select this rows and columns, the table, and I'll go to insert, and I want a bar graph, so I'll select this option here where all the bar graph options are, and I'll say bar graph. So this is how the bar graph will look like. Now you want the labels, you have to click on these options, you have to say axis titles, and then you can say this is cost, and this is the number of restaurants. So this is bar graph. Now in case you want a scattered plot, again the same way you select this table, go to insert and a scattered plot. So you have a scattered plot. Again, if you want the labels, go in this plus sign and say axis titles, and then you can change it manually. If you want, so this is the scattered plot. Now in case you want a frequency curve or a line graph, you can go again in the insert, line graphs are here. This is the line graph. In case you want a frequency curve, the same way you select this table, and this will be the frequency curve. So you have to just go in those options, insert options, and choose whichever graph that you want. If you want the pie chart, select the table and go in this insert option, and here the pie chart options are here. Pie chart is here. If you want the labels, then you can say data labels. Say OK. This is how you have to draw a pie chart. So we have talked about how to plot various graphs and how to construct a table using Excel. So let us go back to the presentations we are in. Now there are some things that we need to keep in mind when we are creating a graph or a table. Some do's and don'ts that while we are drawing a graph. Now if you look at this two plots, now these are like two plots here. One gives you the income of A, and the other one gives you income of B. Now if I compare these plots, what do you see? Is there any difference, or would you say based on this graph, in case of income of in case of A, the income is increasing steeply as compared to income of B, which is increasing much slower. Okay, if you look at the slope. Now, will you say that the increase of A is higher than the increase of B? Now, it looks like that because the way I have drawn the graphs, but actually both the graphs are the same thing. They are the same data points that I created, except that in this case, in case of the income of A, the x-axis is smaller, whereas in income of B, the x-axis is bigger. So because I'm changing the size of the x-axis, they give me a different meaning. So it's important that you keep the relative size of axis, two axes, x-axis and y-axis properly. And universally what we follow is, if x-axis is say 10 centimeters, then y-axis should be around 7 to 8 centimeters, approximately 75%. So y-axis length should be around 75% of x-axis. Okay. So this is one rule that we usually follow. Sometimes we also see inappropriate axis length. Now if you look at this, the y-axis that I have formed here, the y-axis values are actually all between 1 to 25. So there was no need of the scaling from 25 to 100. So because of this inappropriate axis length, the graph does not tend to give the actual information that we intend to get. So it is important that you form the axis length correctly. In this case, you could have just taken the y-axis as 1 to 25. In that case, you would see a different form of this graph. So inappropriate axis length is another thing that you should keep in mind. Look at this graph another way. Now, if I ask you, this graph is representing some enrollment rate in percentage from 1990 to 2015. Now, if you look at the variation, would you say the variation is quite much from 1990 to 2015? You might say yes. Okay. There is a good amount of variation as I go from 1990 to 2015 in the data values. Now look at the same graph in this form. Now if you look at this graph, because I have put it in the actual original form, now you will see this variation is not much. Okay. Because the actual data values are what I had done was I had cut down the y-axis and I had started from 60. Here it starts from 0 and here it starts from 60. Now because I did this, it looked like there is much variation between the values, whereas it was not. So it is important that you start with the origin, okay, so that you know the actual variation in the data. So the truncation of ordinates is also important. You should make sure that this is taken care of when you're drawing a graph. The selection of the start and end point of the abscissa. Let us say this is the sales of a company which I want to present, and you will see that you will say that from 2008 to 2018 the sales of this company has continuously increased, uniformly increased. So if I want to give a very good impression about my company, and that's why I chosen the data like this. The actual data was something like this. So in order to give a good impression about my company, instead of giving the data values from 2000 to 2018, what I did was I truncated my axis to 2008 so that I do not show this decrease in sales, in order to show that my company is doing very well. So this is another thing that you have to keep in mind when you are drawing a graph. So the truncation of axis, this is something that you need to keep in mind. You will also come across three-dimensional shapes sometimes, which are very attractive, but then I would recommend not to use them. That is because when I'm using a three-dimensional, say if you look at this bar graph, which is a three-dimensional picture, though it looks very interesting, very attractive, but it does not give you the actual value, or sometimes you may misinterpret what is the value here of these bars, like it is 20 to 40 here. So you cannot make out what is the actual value of this or the actual height of these bars. So I'll advise you to stick to two-dimensional figures, which will give you simple pictures but the correct information. It is also advisable to use some innovative ideas to present your data. But while you do that, you should make sure that you are presenting it properly. Like this is one picture which gives you the amount of land planted with grapes for the wine industry. It's a beautiful picture, and it intends to show that the amount of land that was planted was increasing from 1949 to 1998. But there's a slight problem with this picture. Is because you will see here 13201. The value here is 1,30,201. Here 1,35,326, whereas here it is 150,300. 135 has been shown higher than 1,50,300. So while you are using innovations in presenting a graph, you should also make sure that the axis, truncation, ordinates, everything is taken care of. This is another example of innovations in picture forms. So this is showing Australian wine exports to US in millions of gallons. So in 1989 it was 1.04, 1992 it is 2.25, 1995 3.67 and so on. Now it gives a good idea of how the wine exports have changed. It has increased from 1.04 to 6.77, and it's a very interesting picture. But the problem again here is, now how are you going to represent values more than 6.77? Let's say for example 8. So this wine, this volume is not enough. You won't be able to represent the values more than 6.77. So that's a problem with this picture. Though it is advisable to use innovations, you should also make sure that the origins, the scaling, everything is taken care of. Thank you.